The world has been waiting for 2 years. Welcome to the Top Gun edition
I feel the need,
of Turbo Mix.
the need for speed.
Hosted by Turbo Dog
Your reputation precedes you.
on 88.1
Thank
FM,
you, sir. Wasn't a compliment.
KWVA Eugene.
Kenny Loggins taking us into the danger zone tonight here on 88.1 FM, KWVA. It's Turbo Mix. It is the very special edition of Turbo Mix that I've been waiting to do for 2 years. Ever since we learned that Top Gun Maverick, which was supposed to have come out in June of 2020, was being delayed. And thanks to the COVIDs, it got delayed again and again and again. No more of that. No more of that. It's coming out this Friday, May 27th. So it is time to dedicate Turbo Mix to the Top Gun franchise. We're going to have all the songs off the original soundtrack. We're going to have some songs that could have been on the soundtrack but were not. We're going to have songs that were in the movie but not on the soundtrack. Classic clips from the first movie, trailers from the new movie. That's all fine and dandy, but even better than that, way better than that, we have a very special guest. He was a cast member in the original Top Gun movie. His character was way more badass than Maverick and Goose and Iceman and Charlie and any of those people. I'm going to let Jester do the honors.
I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our commanding officer at Top Gun. Very first man to win the Top Gun trophy. You will not find a finer fighter pilot anywhere in the world. Commander Mike Metcalf. Call sign Viper.
Gentlemen, you are the top 1% of all naval aviators. The elite. The best of the best. We'll make you better. Fly at least 2 combat missions a day, 10 classes in between, and evaluations of your performance. Now, in each combat sequence, you're going to meet a different challenge. Every encounter is going to be much more difficult. We're going to teach you to fly the F-14 right to the edge of the envelope, faster than you've ever flown before. More dangerous. We don't make policy here, gentlemen. Elected officials, civilians do that. We are the instruments of that policy. And although we're not at war, we must always act as though we are at war.
What are you doing?
Tip the spear.
Just wondering,
Best be sure.
who's the best?
In case some of you wonder who the best is, they're up here on this plaque on the wall. The best driver in his reel from each class has his name on it. And they have the option to come back here to be Top Gun instructors. You think your name's gonna be on that plaque?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty arrogant, considering the company you're in.
Yes, sir.
I like that in a pilot. Just remember, when it's over out there, we're all on the same team. Gentlemen, this school is about combat. There are no points for second place.
It is my honor and privilege to welcome the legendary Tom Skerritt to Turbo Mix.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Sounds like you've got a lot going on these days.
Oh, yeah. But it's all good stuff. So, it's just a matter of behaving myself and do as I'm told.
You misbehave a lot?
I have a wife who gets me, who makes sure I get things done. And I don't always, so I don't want to get the aftermath on my not doing things properly. So
what's going on today?
I'm writing 3 things at once, including a memoir, which I'm really hammering away, which is sort of taking me away in the sky somewhere.
Wow. How far into that are you? Are you even thinking about release date at this point, or are you still just getting it together?
No, I don't. I don't get into the future very much. That's why I forget messages sometimes. But it's just something a lot of friends have said, you got to write about these people you met, and where you've been, and all that sort of stuff. And I got thinking about it, and it may be a little bit overwritten, because of course you got to bring in your origins in some way into this sort of thing. I mean, how you got to where you are is not something that we really know until after we've already done it.
And that kind of dictates where we get and the choices we make too.
Pretty much, yeah. As a kid, I had no idea what to do. I didn't have any guidance, and it's just sort of odd that suddenly I felt that when I got out of high school, I had to leave town and join the Air Force, and then get out of the Air Force and finally wind up at UCLA, because I know I needed, above all, direction and an education. So.
And you were in the Air Force in the early 50s. Were you in Korea, or was this pre-Korea?
No, this is during Korea. I was not based in Korea, though.
Okay. So what did you do?
Part of it is I joined, 4 of us joined the Air Force all at once. We all knew that we weren't ready for college, and we weren't prepared to do anything beyond just circling back to we had to leave town and find out what was out in the world. So we joined the Air Force. And we got the GI Bill. So 2 of us out of 4 were able to go to college. And so that's just one step after another. I don't know that I'm answering your questions, but it's just not knowing really what you're going to do with your life. I was an English major, and I wound up being an actor. So go figure. I didn't have any clue where I was going with this, but I knew I had to go. So the memoir is called Keep On Moving.
And you certainly have. I saw a recent interview with you, and you said if you like what you do, it doesn't make sense to retire. So I'm probably badly paraphrasing what you said, but
I think that's pretty true of a lot of people I know that are in other professions who are still doing it late into their lives. But just a matter of recognize whether you have the capabilities, because the mind begins to change, the brain begins to change, and it's just a matter of how to process. Are you able to update, for example? Most of the guys my age and less, I guess, I don't know what the age is, 65, beyond that is, but if you have a nice job, stay with it as long as you possibly can, as long as you're not getting in the way of other people.
How do you think you've held on this long in what you do? As you put it, you're kind of out of the Hollywood system, but because you were in it for so long, that's enabled you to get to do things how you do them now.
Yeah, pretty much. I was all in Los Angeles until about 30 years ago, and I just needed to get out in the trees instead of being in a city. I grew up in a city, and I really have a feeling about the creative freedom that you feel out in the forest.
Do you see it, or is it already happening from your point of view in terms of, Seattle's becoming a location that's more and more common, and Oregon, do you see it becoming kind of that region, the Northwest region, being kind of a new Hollywood?
Well, yeah, but the new, what we can possibly be. Oregon has really had understanding about incoming productions and location. Washington has not quite done that yet. They're really, let's put it this way, Hollywood is not going to be coming up here anymore. It can't do the big budgets that it used to do, and we have to do independent productions, and they have to be put over right now streaming instead of theatrical. So we have to change our thinking about this. The reality is theatrical is not where the profits are coming. So the profits have to come through another way, which is advertising on streaming channels. And that we have, which is called Evergreen, EVRGRN. It's on Stirrap and Apple and a few other platforms now that we're spreading out to, and as we go. So it's a new world, and we're redesigning a new world to be done up here in Northwest.
Do you think that's because of the fact that people can do things online and they're not shackled by the limitations of going and pitching a film and doing that whole process? Or do you think it's because the theaters have been shut down for the better part of 2 years because of the pandemic?
It's been shut down for 2 years because of the pandemic, but preceding that, they were not financially doing well. That's not really the way that they would want it to be, but how to come back has been a very difficult thing for them, because it's generally thought in terms of theatrical release, and distribution systems themselves have been questionable for some time. This is not necessarily common information, but that's, if you read enough articles in different magazines and different papers, you begin to put it all together like a math equation. It's a new world, and we can do something up here in the Northwest. And that's what our aim is, by starting a streaming channel, Evergreen, as I said, on Stirrap and so on.
They're inspiring stories. That's kind of the mission statement, right, of Evergreen?
Uplifting. No going out and killing and shooting and hostility. This is stuff about fishing great rivers. An Academy Award-winning documentary a few years ago, fishing great rivers from Idaho to the Pacific Ocean, and great chefs that are in the forest, that you find these guys with some distillery that makes the #1 rye whiskey in the world, and so on and so forth. These guys who love to talk on camera and talk about what they do and how they do it, and the pride and ownership and whatever product it may be, whether it's doing rye bread or whether it's doing rye whiskey. It's just really, there's a wonderful body of talent here who are busy doing other things, writing or whatever they're doing, that we have to pull together by having a company here that can help build this whole new enterprise, visual entertainment.
Is it still all curation on your part and your partners, or have you branched out into original content yet, or is that the plan?
Well, you have to plan out or strategize all of this in a whole different way, because you've got different outlets, you have platforms, you got different areas that you're going to with this, and the advertising has to be appropriate to those particular areas. So it's just a matter of building a new building. Basically, you got to build a foundation. You can't just jump right on in, because you're going to fall through down to the basement if you don't build a good foundation. So it takes time, and it takes learning lessons from other people as well along the way who have to ingest advertising, for example, in between the shows that we're displaying, and they're still learning how to do that properly. So it's taking time and patience to do this stuff. It's almost like going from silent movies to talkies.
And Tom knows a thing or two about talkies, okay? He's been in a lot of them over the past 60 years or so. Some good ones, too. A River Runs Through It, Alien, Steel Magnolias, and, of course, a little film called Top Gun. We'll talk to him about Top Gun in just a little bit. Let's get back to the music for now, though. We're going to have some songs, of course, that were on the Top Gun soundtrack that we all know and love. But also, coming up next, a song that was not on the soundtrack. It was not in the movie, but it was in this trailer for the original movie.
I'm going to send you up against the best. Yes, sir. You two characters are going to Top Gun.
I feel the need for speed.
For 5 weeks, you're going to fly against the best fighter pilots in the world.
You guys really are cowboys.
I don't like you because you're unsafe.
That's right.
I am dangerous.
The wild card flies by the seat of his pants.
I guess when I see something, I go right after it.
It takes a lot more than just fancy flying.
Gentlemen, this school is about combat. There are no points for second place.
You figured it out yet? What's that? Who's the best pilot? No, I think I can figure that one out on my own.
Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis. Top Gun.
Turbo Dogs Turbo Mix, the Top Gun edition.
The late Tina Marie here on 88.1 FM, KWVA. The Top Gun edition of Turbo Mix is what you're listening to right now. That was Lead Me On. And before that, The Cars with Stranger Eyes. Now that song is not in the movie. It's not on the soundtrack. It's from their album Heartbeat City, which is a great album, and that's a great song. For some reason, they used that in the trailer for the original Top Gun, but they didn't put it in the film. I'm just saying, I would have made some different choices. But we'll get into all that, because some artists who had the chance to be on the soundtrack and to have their music in the film didn't. And it was their choice not to, which I find fascinating. We'll talk about that too. But right now, I want to talk a little bit more about this Tina Marie song. It is in the scene where Maverick and Goose go out to the bar. I don't know if that's the O Club, but it's a bar with a bunch of other pilots. And, they're out to have a good time. Goose, of course, is a good married man. Maverick, as Goose puts it so eloquently, lives his life between his... Anyway, so Maverick's out to, find a companion, if you will. So that song is on as they come into the bar, and then Maverick has spotted Kelly McGillis in the bar and has decided that's the lady he would like to chat up, and he needs Goose's help to do that.
She's lost that love and feeling.
She's like... No, she hasn't.
Yes, she
She
has.
has not lost that love.
Because she's lost it, Matt. Come on.
I hate it when she does that.
Excuse me, miss.
Hey. Don't worry, I'll take care of this.
You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips.
There's no tenderness like before in your fingertips.
You're trying hard not to show it, baby. But baby, believe me, I know that you've lost that love and feeling. Whoa, that love and feeling. You've lost that love and feeling. Now it's gone, gone, gone. Whoa.
Baby, I'll get down on my knees for you.
I love that song. I've never seen that approach. How long have you two been doing this act?
Oh, I don't know. Since,
Puberty?
Right, puberty.
I'm Charlotte Blackwood.
I'm Maverick.
Maverick? Does your mother not like you or something?
No, it's my call sign.
You're a pilot.
That's right, a naval aviator. No, actually, we've only done this, twice.
Oh, how'd you do?
Crashed and burned on the first one. It wasn't pretty.
And the second?
I don't know, I'll tell you tomorrow, but it's looking good so far.
Well, Maverick. My friends just arrived, so it's been great talking to you. Perry. Hi. Here you go. Oh, I'll be with you in just a second, okay? Listen, can I ask you a personal question?
That depends.
Are you a good pilot?
I can hold my own.
Great. Then I won't have to worry about you making your living as a singer.
I'm gonna need a beer to put these flames out. Yo! It's great, Mav. Real slick.
Yeah, that was pretty slick, Mav. Way to go. Remember, there's no points for second place. Just keep that in mind as we move forward. Let's hear another song from that scene. You could hear it in the background there as Mav was ordering his beer to put those flames out. This is Miami Sound Machine with Hot Summer Nights on 88.1 FM, KWVA, the Top Gun edition of Turbo Mix.
In the time before the twilight settles on the world, whoa, can you feel the magic? Dreaming of someone to hold tight, one more lonely girl, whoa, dances in her attic, everywhere across the land, in front of the mirrors with combs in their hands, they prepare to make a stand, lover to lover, woman to man, living for the small town, hot summer nights, radio about to blow, top down under the lights, feel the heat, wild and sweet, hot summer nights. Riding solo in his front seat, bursting at the seams, whoa, driven by desire, hometown hero haunts the main street, dreaming desperate dreams,
It's the Top Gun edition of Turbo Dog's Turbo Mix.
I don't like you because you're dangerous.
On 88.1 FM.
That's right. Nice, man.
KWVA Eugene.
I am dangerous.
Hello. We will be dealing with F5s and A4s as our mixed simulators. Now then, as most of you know, the F5 doesn't have the thrust-to-weight ratio that the MiG-28 has, and it doesn't bleed energy below 300 knots like the MiG-28. However, the MiG-28 does have a problem with its inverted flight tanks. It won't do a negative G pushover. The latest intelligence tells us that the most it will do is one negative... Excuse me, Lieutenant. Is there something wrong?
Yes, ma'am. The data on the MiG is inaccurate.
How's that, Lieutenant?
Well, I just happened to see a MiG-28 Sorry, Goose. We happened to see a MiG-28 do a 4G negative dive.
Where did you see this?
That's classified.
It's what?
It's classified. I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Lieutenant, I have top secret clearance. The Pentagon sees to it that I know more than you.
Oh, ma'am, it doesn't seem so in this case now, does it?
So, Lieutenant, where exactly were you?
Well, we started up on his 6 when he pulled through the clouds, and then I moved in above him.
Well, if you were directly above him, how could you see him?
Because I was inverted.
No, he was, man. It was a really great move. She was inverted.
You were in a 4G inverted dive with a MiG-28?
Yes, ma'am.
At what range?
No, about 2 meters.
Well, it's actually about 1.5, I think. It was 1.5. I've got a great Polaroid of it, and he's right there. Must be 1.5.
It was a nice picture. It wasn't half. Thanks.
Lieutenant. What were you doing there?
Communicating.
Communicating. Keeping up foreign relations. I was, giving him the bird.
You know, the finger.
Yes, I know the finger, Goose.
I'm sorry. I hate it when it does that. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
So you're the one.
Yes, ma'am.
Campus Radio 88.1 FM, KWVA. You are listening to the Top Gun edition of Turbo Mix. So to review, Maverick just went back to work after his ill-fated pickup scheme. It was beyond a pickup line. It was a pickup scheme. Butchering You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin', getting kind of bailed out by all of his buddies joining in and singing along. And Sundown, at the end, takes the solo bit where he should have let him sing it. He sounded good. But in any case, okay, he didn't work out. Well, he gets to work the next day, and guess who his instructor is? Way to go, Mav. Maybe you'll think twice before you pull a circus stunt like that. Again, maybe you won't do a flyby, or maybe you will. Maybe you're unsafe, maybe you're dangerous, maybe you're reckless. We'll find out. Speaking of reckless, there's a Judas Priest song called Reckless, which I don't know if you remember. It's the last song on their Turbo album. Not one of their more respected albums. Great title, mind you. Turbo, can't get much better than that. But yeah, in the Priest canon, it's not up there with British Steel. It's not up there with Stained Class or Sad Wings of Destiny or any of those albums. It ranks pretty low. When people rank the Priest albums, Turbo's pretty low. Okay, be that as it may, the Top Gun folks wanted to use Reckless in the movie and on the soundtrack, and Priest was like, no, Top Gun, that movie isn't going to do anything, and then if we give Reckless to Top Gun, then we can't put it on Turbo. Yeah, good call, guys, because Top Gun didn't do very well, and boy, if you didn't have Reckless to kind of tie off the Turbo album, it just wouldn't have been the same. So, hey, I love the Priest. I love the Priest. It hurts me that, in my view, that was an opportunity lost for them. I don't know how they see it, but in any case, opportunity lost for the Priest gives us an opportunity to bring the song back. This is not the only song we'll be hearing tonight that could have been in the movie that wasn't. Let's hear it right now. It's actually a really good song. It's Reckless from Judas Priest off Turbo. You're on 88.1 FM, KWVA, the Top Gun edition of Turbo Mix.
Stop me now, I'm like a human animal.
Campus Radio 88.1 FM, KWVA. It's Turbo Mix, the Top Gun edition. A song that could have been in the movie, could have been on the soundtrack. But Judas Priest said, no, it would be reckless of us to let you have Reckless for a film that will flop, and we want to keep it for our own record. Thank you very much. Recklessness, that's kind of what Maverick was all about. He's reckless, he's dangerous, he's unsafe, and he breaks some rules. And he does a circus stunt flyby, and Viper's none too happy about it.
Your snot-nosed jockeys did a flyby on my tower at over 400 knots. I want somebody's butt. I want it now. I've had it. Oh, damn it! That's twice. I want some butts.
Well, that'll just about cover the flybys. Follow me. Gentlemen, you had a hell of a first day. The hard deck for this hop was 10,000 feet. You knew it, you broke it. You followed Commander Heatherly below after he lost sight of you and called no joy. Why?
Sir, I had Commander Heatherly in my sights. He saw me move in for the kill. He then proceeded below the hard deck. We weren't below 10,000 for more than a few seconds. I had the shot. There was no danger, so I took it.
You took it. And broke a major rule of engagement. Then you broke another one with that circus stunt flyby. Lieutenant Mitchell, Top Gun rules of engagement exist for your safety and for that of your team. They are not flexible, nor am I. Either obey them or you are history. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Dismissed.
Really enjoyed that, Mav. Thanks a lot. Maybe I could learn how to be a truck driver. Mav, you have the number of that truck driving school we saw on TV? Truckmaster, I think it is. I might need that.
His fitness report says it all. He's a wild card. Flies by the seat of his pants. Completely unpredictable.
He got you, didn't he?
Yeah.
Maverick. Flew with his old man. Tell me one thing. If you had to go into battle, would you want him with you?
I don't know. Just don't know.
Now, does Maverick let that get him down? Does he just lose himself? Does he lose his whole Maverickian identity and buckle down and study and take this whole Top Gun thing seriously? No. Of course he doesn't. He has aggressions to get out, man. He's got issues, and what better way to just kind of burn off some of that energy than to go play some beach volleyball with your buddy Goose and your adversaries Iceman and Slider. So that's what they did. They hit the beach, they played some volleyball, because that's what you do in Miramar. All right? When you're not flying 2 combat missions a day, you're playing some volleyball. So this is the soundtrack to that scene from Mr. Soundtrack himself, Kenny Loggins. It's Playing with the Boys on 88.1 FM, KWVA, Turbo Mix, the Top Gun edition.
Say it was the right time to walk away, but dreaming takes you nowhere. It's time to play. Body's working overtime, your money don't matter. Time keeps ticking, someone's on the mind. On the mind. I'm moving in
game. That evens it up. Come on, we can take this game. No, we can't. We got it.
I got some things I gotta take care of.
Take care of. Just one more game. Please? For me?
Sorry.
You're sorry. Come on. For me?
Maverick, come on, really? You're going to let Goose down again? You get him in trouble with your circus stunt flyby and breaking the rules of engagement by going below the hard deck to engage Jester. I don't care that you got him. You broke the rules, and you got Goose in trouble. And now you can't even make it up to him with one more stinking volleyball game to settle this thing with Ice and Slider. You can't do that. And why? Because you got stuff to take care of? Huh? Because you got to go into the danger zone with Charlie? Is that what it is? Come on, man. All right, so this is where we are. This is who Maverick is. He leaves Goose on the beach, getting berated by Ice and Slider because they walked away from the volleyball match, because he has to go over have a little dinner with Charlie, a.k.a. Charlotte Blackwood, played by Kelly McGillis, and they need to listen to some Otis Redding. He has to do that right now. So we're going to do it right now. I love this song. Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. 88.1 FM, KWVA, Turbo Mix.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I've had nothing to live for, and look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Listen, sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. Listen, 2,000 miles I roam just to make this dock my home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
+30 years of service. Combat medals, citations. Only man to shoot down 3 enemy planes in the last 40 years. Yet you can't get a promotion, you won't retire. Despite your best efforts, you refuse to die. You should be at least a 2-star admiral by now. Yet here you are. Captain. What is that?
It's one of life's mysteries, sir.
The end is inevitable, Maverick. Your kind is headed for extinction.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
That was the very first trailer that I saw for Top Gun Maverick. 2.5 years ago I saw that thing because, as we know, thanks COVIDs, the release of Top Gun Maverick has been delayed several times over the past 2.5 years. Finally coming out this Friday, May 27th. But when I saw that trailer for the first time, I made this sound, and this was involuntary. It just came out of me. I'm watching it, and all of a sudden I go, I'd only made that sound once before that, and that was in 2015 when I saw Roger Federer in person for the first time practicing at the U.S. Open. I haven't made that sound since. Okay, I've made that sound one time since then. One time. And that was when I got the email confirming that, yes, Tom Skerritt would be happy to join you on Turbo Mix. We're going to have more with Tom Skerritt in just a few minutes. He's actually going to talk some Top Gun in this segment, so stick around for that. We're playing the music from the soundtrack, music from the film that wasn't on the soundtrack, and music that wasn't in either but could have been. This is from the soundtrack, Through the Fire, from Larry Green on 88.1 FM, KWVA.
Until every race is run, I'll go straight into the fire now. Until every day is done, voices say, break away. Live the night as if each moment was the only one. Through the fire, to the wire. When the night control is breaking your heart. Through the fire, to the wire. When the flames are burning hot, they take you higher. Through the There's a feeling that I can't ignore, like a stranger at my door. There's a feeling that I cannot hide when you settle up the score. Voices say, night and day, live your life as if each second was the final one. Through the fire, to the wire. When the night control is breaking your heart. Through the fire, to the wire. When the flames are burning hot, they take you higher. I look for signs that you are here tonight. When the passion calls the pleasure to the pain, and I ask you of the meaning when you talk of love. Would you take the leap of faith? Would you throw it all away? To the wire. When the night out of control is breaking your heart. Through the fire, to the wire. When the flames are burning hot, they take you higher. Through the fire, to the wire.
Good morning, gentlemen. The temperature is 110 degrees.
Holy it's Viper! Viper's up here! Great!
Great. He's probably saying, holy It's Turbo Dog's Turbo Mix on KWVA Eugene.
Yeah, I'm sure he's saying that.
Tom Skerritt is my guest tonight here on Turbo Mix, the Top Gun edition. Very excited to have him here tonight. He had many reasons. I mean, this guy has done a million movies, and he had a lot of reasons why he decided to take on the role of Viper in the original Top Gun back in '86.
The one I thought I knew it was going to be Tony Scott, the director of that. I had met briefly when I did Alien with his brother Ridley. And just to work with Tony was exciting. And then Tom Cruise, he was in the situation. So I looked at it, I said to myself, this is going to be a very successful film. There's no doubt about that. And adding the music to it that they added to it, it just brought it up to another level. So one does not think before you get into it about specifically, this is my kind of movie. You look at, I look at it a little differently. The whole thing, complex, the complexity of it, and Tony Scott itself as a filmmaker was going to make one damn good movie, and that's what he did, and that's what I knew he would do.
When you got that role, how did you create Viper as we know him today?
Well, first of all, I went in to meet the guy who was running the Top Gun program, Navy guy. And ordinarily, I think they were thinking I should be more aggressive. But talking to this guy, he just sat and listened and would nod and say a few words here and there. And I've talked to other Top Gun guys over the years, and they're all very unyielding in their conversation. So I portrayed that character. Doing this stuff, I don't analyze it. I don't get into, I'm going to do it this way, I'm going to do it that way. I don't know what's going to come out. And for 60 years, I've been that way. Some of it, I look at it from my own evaluation and say, well, I didn't hit the ball out of the park that time, nor did I even get a single. I didn't like my performance. And another time I thought, oh, not bad. Not bad. I didn't know I did that, and that worked. You can't live with that stuff. You know, it's a drive, it's an impulse, it's just trusting yourself to get in there and do the right thing. And if in film, you can do that. In theater, you cannot do it. You got to be right every night. And you always have to it's bringing the freshness to it. It's not trying to repeat the same thing over and over again. You know, you can't. If you do that, you're just not going to, the tires are going to go flat on your car.
And that, I would imagine, just kind of comes with just decades of doing it, right? I mean, it's not going to work every time.
You know, I don't mean to change the media, but there's something about, like, say, the Mona Lisa painting. So we consider the greatest painting. And it's quite good. I've seen it. It's small, not much bigger than our television screen here. But it's one of those that you can't really say a painting is the best in ever. You have to know why they would analyze it as such. So the analytical process, and it's a feeling that you get, is a little smile that shows the character, that person, that woman. What is that smile? That's what draws people. And that's not necessarily intended when you do it. So as an actor, you may do something impulsively, instinctively, because you have come up with a character that you have not overanalyzed or over-described to yourself. You just simply be who you are in this character, being somebody playing somebody you're not. But you've experienced watching other people. So it's that little something you don't give them that makes you more interesting. It's not all this painting of red, white, and blue. Great painters are those who don't really give you all you wanted. Mm-hmm. They make you always question the great paintings. You always question certain movies because people used to sit in restaurants and at the next table and you hear them talking about a movie they saw last night. Well, what about this and what about that? You don't hear that conversation going on anymore. What does that mean? Well, because they've had too much of too much. If you have those same special effects being done in very variable ways, it doesn't pull you in. Your imagination really has to be activated by what you don't give them, essentially. So, and that's not something you can make that decision before doing it.
And in terms of wanting more, to go back to Top Gun, sorry, I don't know if you're sick of talking about Top Gun after all these years or not, but I hope not, and I apologize if you are. Are you? And I'm going to ask you this. I know if you tell me, you'll probably have to kill me. Is Viper going to be in it?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't think so.
Okay.
I went down for a day to watch them shoot when they're in San Diego, but I doubt that he's there. I mean, it's 35 years later. People have asked me that constantly. I have to tell you that I'm always telling them, well, if I'm in it, it's probably they're coming to my funeral. The guy's got to be that old, you know. And anyway, that's the way I see it. I have no idea. I haven't heard. It's not been on my mind, so
okay.
I don't know.
Did you get to go up in the F-14 when they were making it, or did they offer?
F-14, yeah, they offered, but I had to go off to another film, right? Because they did all that stuff after the shooting of the principal film, and I went off to do another film. But I came back later up here, and the Blue Angels were here.
Oh, yeah?
In Seattle, and I took a ride, and I was F-15 at that point, and he gave me the stick somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, and I did a loop and a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and I said, "Let's go home."
That was enough, huh?
Yeah, it was.
So I think that's pretty cool that Tom Skerritt also got a jet ride out of his involvement with Top Gun. He was into aviation and wanted to fly planes as a very young man, and he owes a lot of that to his older brother, who was a World War II pilot. We'll hear more about that in the next part of our conversation with Tom Skerritt in just a little bit. More music now from the Top Gun soundtrack, probably one of my two favorite songs on the soundtrack, which is fantastic. But aside from Danger Zone and the Top Gun anthem, this is probably the Top Gunniest of all the songs. It's Cheap Trick with Mighty Wings on 88.1 FM, KWVA, Turbo Mix, the Top Gun edition.
It's just a ball of dust underneath my feet. It rolls around the sun. Doesn't mean that much to me. Take a chance on the edge of life, just like all the rest.
Mighty Wings from Cheap Trick here on 88.1 FM. KWVA, you've got the Top Gun edition of Turbo Mix tonight, paying tribute to the first Top Gun movie and getting all hyped up for the new one that comes out on Friday, May 27th. And these Top Gun movies are not just about kicking ass in the skies and making America proud and being the best of the best and all that stuff. They're also love stories, okay? Maverick, he may be dangerous, he may be unsafe, but he has heart.
Lieutenant, my review of your flight performance in the task was right on in my professional opinion.
I can't hear you. And you think I'm reckless? When I fly, I'll have you know that my crew and my plane come first.
Well, I'm going to finish my sentence, Lieutenant. My review of your flight performance was right on.
Is that right?
That is right. But I held something back. I see some real genius in your flying, Maverick, but I can't say that in there. I was afraid that everyone in that tax trailer would see right through me. And I just don't want anyone to know that I've fallen for you.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, this is the scene where I hid my eyes as a 10-year-old boy in the theater in Nampa, Idaho, back in 1986 when I saw this movie for the first time. I still hide my eyes because I'm not old enough to see this stuff yet. This is the love theme from Top Gun from Berlin, which won an Oscar and a Golden Globe, by the way. It's Take My Breath Away on 88.1 FM, KWVA, Turbo Mix.
Watching every motion in my foolish lover's game. On this endless ocean, finally lovers know no shame. Turning every turn into some secret place inside. Watching
You're listening to the Top Gun edition of Turbo Mix.
I can tell by the look in your eyes you've been hurting. You know I'll never let you down, oh no. And I'll try anything to keep it working. You gave me time to find out what my heart was looking for. And what I'm feeling inside in your eyes, I wanna see your love again in your eyes. I never want this feeling to end. It took some time to find the line, but now I realize I can see the heaven in your eyes. Can't you see I'm finding it hard to let go? Whoa. All the heartaches we've been through, I never really thought I'd see this love grow. But you help me see, now I know what my heart's been looking for. And what I'm feeling inside in your eyes, I wanna see your love again in your eyes. I never want this feeling to end. It took some time to find the line, but now I realize I can see the heaven in your eyes. We've been living on the edge, we'll only the strong survive. We've been living on the edge, and it's something that we just can't hide. Oh, this feeling inside in your eyes, I wanna see your love again in your eyes. I never want this feeling to end. It took some time to find the line, but now I realize I can see the heaven in your eyes. Oh yeah, I can see the heaven in your eyes. Ooh yeah, I can see the heaven in your eyes. I can see the heaven in your eyes. Heaven in your eyes.
Campus Radio, 88.1 FM, KWVA, Loverboy. It's heaven in your eyes. Here on Turbo Mix. Not just any old edition of Turbo Mix, though. It's the special Top Gun edition. As we look back at the first movie, as we talk to Tom Skerritt, a.k.a. Viper, about his involvement in the movie, and also his just 60-plus year career that is still in progress. This guy is amazing. I love this guy so much, and I was so honored to have him on the show. More of our conversation with Tom here coming up. And also coming up, a version of Great Balls of Fire, the Jerry Lee Lewis classic that was in the film Top Gun, the original, and from what I understand, there's going to be a version in the new one, but not Jerry Lee Lewis's version. We'll hear that next.
Your instructor is one of the finest pilots this program has ever produced. His exploits are legendary. What he has to teach you may very well mean the difference between life and death.
Your reputation precedes you.
I have to admit, I wasn't expecting an invitation back.
They're called orders, Maverick.
This is your captain speaking. Today's exercise is dogfighting.
2 versus 1? He's got to be kidding. What the hell?
The
Admiral's daughter.
What?
He told me all about the time you went ballistic with Penny Benjamin.
Did he? Well, that's great.
He tells me about all of them, Maverick.
Uh-huh.
How my little angel Goose goes home early for church. And you always go home with the hot women.
All right. Thank you, Carol. I'm gonna go embarrass myself with Goose for a while.
Woohoo!
Ow! You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Think about your love drives a man insane. You broke my will. Oh, what a thrill! Goodness gracious, great balls of fire!
I would love to be able to warn you off about Maverick, but I just love him to death. You know, I've known Pete for a lot of years now, and I'm telling you one thing's for certain. There are hearts breaking wide open all over the world tonight. Why? Because unless you are a fool, a boy is off the market. He is 100% prime time in love with you. Hey, Goose, you big stud!
That's me, honey.
Take me to bed or lose me forever.
Show me the way home, honey. Come on, Brad, let's sing with the family.
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Think about your love drives a man insane. You broke my will. Oh, what a thrill!
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire! Yeehaw! Ow!
Maverick, you big stud. Take me to bed or lose me forever.
Now, I'm assuming what happens there as Maverick and Charlie drive off on the motorbike, I'm assuming because you go from that scene into a very crucial flight scene where a very big moment in the movie happens. And if you haven't seen the original Top Gun, come on, it's been out for 36 years. Get on it, okay? But I won't spoil it for you. But I'm guessing there's, something that happens that we don't see. And my guess, knowing Maverick and what a responsible chap he is thus far in the film, he says to her, I'd love to, but look, I've got to go do a thing. I've got a thing I've got to take care of tomorrow. 2 weeks to graduation at the Top Gun school. You may have heard of it. You're an instructor there. So I need to get some shut-eye and then go do this thing tomorrow. So thanks, but I'm guessing that's what happens, but I could be very, very wrong. Bryan Adams was one of the artists who was approached to be involved in the Top Gun soundtrack, and he wrote a song for it. They wanted him to sing Danger Zone, for one thing, which, would be weird hearing Bryan Adams sing that, but they offered it to him, and they also wanted him to write another song, which he did. And then he decided, no, I'm not going to be involved in this. This movie glorifies war, so no, I'm not going to be involved. But he did release the song years later on one of his own albums, and I think it fits in quite nicely into the Top Gun universe. Only the Strong Survive from Bryan Adams on 88.1 FM KWVA, the Top Gun edition of Turbo Mix.
Well, I'm Tom Skerritt, a.k.a. Viper in Top Gun. I'm glad to have you on the radio. I'm glad to be talking to you. And as Viper once said, I'm not going to blow sunshine up your derriere. You're listening to KWVA, Eugene, Oregon.
I flew with the old man. Via 51, the Oriskany. You're a lot like he was. Only better.
And worse. He was a natural, heroic son of a bitch.
So we did do it right.
Yeah, you did it right. Is that why you fly the way you do? Trying to prove something? Yeah, your old man did it right. But I'm about to tell you, it's classified. It could end my career. We were in the worst dogfight I ever dreamed of. There are bogeys like fireflies all over the sky. His F-4 was hit. He was wounded, but he could have made it back. He stayed in it, saved 3 planes before he bought it.
How come I never heard that before?
Well, that's not something the State Department tells dependents when the battle occurred over the wrong line on some map.
So you were there?
I was there. What's on your mind?
My options, sir.
Simple. First, you've acquired enough points to show up tomorrow and graduate with your Top Gun class. Or you can quit. There'd be no disgrace. That spin was hell. It would have shook me up.
So you think I should quit?
I didn't say that. The simple fact is you feel responsible for Goose, and you have a confidence problem. Now, I'm not going to sit here and blow sunshine up his eye, Lieutenant. A good pilot is compelled to always evaluate what's happened so he can apply what he's learned. Up there, we got to push it. That's our job. It's your option, Lieutenant. All yours.
Sorry to bother you on a Sunday, sir, but thank you very much for your time.
No problem. Good luck.
Flying sequences aside, that's probably my favorite scene from the original Top Gun movie. Viper's pep talk to Maverick after Goose dies. It's fantastic. Tom Skerritt is my guest tonight on this special edition of Turbo Mix, the Top Gun edition. And as we heard a little bit earlier, after the movie was made, he did have a chance to go up in a jet with the Blue Angels, and they let him take over, and he did a little bit, and he's like, okay, that's it, I'm good. But he was into aviation as a very young man and wanted to fly as a very young man, and he owes a lot of that to his older brother.
And he was a P-51 pilot at the end of World War II, and I loved him. I loved that he did that. I loved it. He occasionally would take me rent a plane, little Piper Cub, little like that, and that kind of plane. And we'd go flying, and I loved it. So I thought innocently at 17, when I got out of high school, that I could go in, enlist in the service, and become an pilot in the Air Force, which you couldn't because they had made that transition from propeller to jet aircraft, much more technically inclined aircraft, and I just didn't have the math for that one. So I just was an enlisted man who never went to flight school.
Well, it sounds like you made the right choice because you've had a pretty good go in the movies.
Yeah, it's been nice, really nice. A lot of really wonderful people in there, I have to say. Really, a lot of nice, smart, creative people, and living in that environment has been pretty good. Pretty good.
Do you have a favorite project or a favorite memory of your time in the business?
Well, people often ask me that stuff. What were my favorite films, involvements, and it's hard to say because I've really been fortunate to be in some really great films, working with some really wonderful people who unfortunately never have a relationship because they live there and we live here, and we, you mow your own lawn, they're mowing their own lawn. So you have a different environment, so you don't have those old studio days where everybody lived in the same town down in LA, in the same neighborhood, basically. So you have relationships with people you work with that doesn't exist, and it hasn't for about 50 years now. People still assume that we'd make friendships and all of that sort of stuff, but it's just I am probably getting away from that original question on that, but it just I just think that, well, one of the films I just feel deeply about was The River Runs Through It. That moved me personally.
Going into it, did you have a feeling that it would, or is it just one of those things that after the fact you were able to stand back and go, wow?
Well, I knew Redford. He was the only actor I think I had any long relationship with. And a lot of this stuff is nonverbal. You just simply can't describe what you feel about it, you know. And we both had that sense about the screenplay that was executed in the final cut of the film. That's all I could say. I can't find words for it. I can't analyze that which is creative. You either feel it or you don't. You either like it or you don't. And that one I really like a lot. It's one of my favorites because it does move me on to another level. And part of that is largely because the character I played was one who would not give of himself to say, I love you, son.
It is true we can seldom help those closest to us. Either we don't know what part of ourselves to give, or more often than not, the part we have to give is not wanted. And so it is those we live with and should know who elude us. But we can still love them. We can love completely without complete understanding.
That was like my own dad. So there was that pattern of paternal behavior that said, be strong by not admitting that you love your children, or particularly the boys. And it was just outrageous, but that's who basically the preacher was. And it was sort of reliving my own dad in some way.
Was that hard to do while you're making the film? Was that on your mind, your own history?
None of this. People ask for the creative process often, and I say there is no. You either got it or you don't, and it's really an impulse, an instinct. It's like that again, the Mona Lisa thing, that little smile. How did it get there? And maybe they were going to have an affair after he finished painting, and she gave him a little smirk. Who knows? Or just thinking, oh, wise guy, or maybe he just decided, I don't like the way she's looked. She's too serious. I'm going to put a little smile on her. Who knows? And it doesn't matter. It's how it engulfs your viewer, how it engulfs the listener, how it engulfs the whole creative process. You can't explain this stuff. Only what you can explain is your failure.
Tom Skerritt is my guest tonight here on this special edition of Turbo Mix, the Top Gun edition. Coming up, the B-side to Take My Breath Away. It's not a love song, don't worry. It's far from it. And right here, this is my other favorite song, along with Mighty Wings from Cheap Trick, Destination Unknown from Marietta on 88.1 FM, KWVA.
Right before my eyes, and the past is the past. Don't regret it. Time to realize I need to walk on the wire just to catch the tunnel, I see it burning bright. It don't matter where it takes me, long as I can keep this feeling running through my soul. Never took this road before, destination unknown. Destination unknown. Won't be coming back this way. Gotta go it alone. Destination unknown. It don't matter where it takes me, long as I can keep this feeling running through my soul. Never took this road before, destination unknown. Destination unknown. Won't be coming back this way. Gotta go it alone.
Turbo Dogs Turbo Mix, the Top Gun edition.
I was working in a flight line, taking nothing home for hours and days. Always walking on a fine line, never falling off, just pushing away. Until I saw you walk
Campus Radio 88.1 FM, KWVA. That's Giorgio Moroder and Joe Pizzullo with Radar Radio, a song that is in the film Top Gun. It's at the very end of the film. Tom Cruise, a.k.a. Maverick, has just shot down the 3 enemy planes. He saved Iceman, and the Navy is happy with him for once. They gave him his choice of duties, anything, anywhere, and he said, I want to come back to Top Gun and be an instructor. So he's at the bar, he's got his Top Gun hat, and he's sipping his drink. That song there is playing in the background on a jukebox, a few seconds of it anyway. Not on the soundtrack, but it is the B-side to Take My Breath Away. Who knew? I didn't know. I actually have that 45. It was in a big box of 45s that a friend of mine gave to me, and I looked at it. The front cover is Berlin. The back cover of it is basically a picture of the soundtrack, and it lists all the songs that are on the soundtrack, not that one. But you take the record out, there it is. It's on there. That's how deep I take you into the Top Gun universe, because I am obsessed, and I cannot wait for the new Top Gun Maverick movie, which comes out Friday, May 27th, just a few days from now. More importantly than any of that, more importantly than the original Top Gun and how much I love it and how excited I am for the new movie, I got to talk to Tom Skerritt, who played Viper, of course. I've been bringing you pieces of our conversation tonight. So thrilled to have Tom take some time for me and to talk to me about his career and what he's doing now.
My focus is on Evergreen Channel, EVRGRN, and you can find any of these streaming channels all over the country, and we're just broadening from one platform to another. We started with one called Evergreen Channel on Stir app, and now it's reaching out to more platforms around the country. We welcome you aboard.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom. Good luck with Evergreen and the memoir and everything else you've got going on. And thank you for everything that you've done. I've been a big fan of your work for a long time, and this is incredible to get to talk to you. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. I hope it works out for you and for everybody out there. I just do what I can.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Tom. I will.
And you do what you can.
Yeah, I will. And when the memoir comes out, I'd love to chat again if you're up for it. So.
Okay.
All right.
Well, be cool.
Thanks.
Be cool.
You too. Take care.
All right. Thanks.
The legendary Tom Skerritt here on 88.1 FM, KWVA, the Top Gun edition of Turbo Mix.
What do we have here? God, here I thought we were special.
Fellas, this here's Bagman.
Hangman.
Whatever.
What the hell kind of mission is this?
Everyone here is the best there is. Who the hell are they going to get to teach us?
Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell. Let me be perfectly blunt. You are not my first choice. You are here at the request of Admiral Kazansky, a.k.a. Iceman. He seems to think that you have something left to offer the Navy. What that is, I can't imagine.
With all due respect, sir, I'm not a teacher. Just want to manage expectations.
What the hell? Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking.
And we're off.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
We're going into combat on a level no living pilot's ever seen. Not even him.
You think up there you're dead. Believe me.
My dad believed in you. I'm not gonna make the same mistake.
Someone's not coming back from this.
Those are your pilots. Anything happens to them. You'll never forgive yourself.
No turning back now.
Having any fun yet?
I don't know if I can wait 5 more days, but I'm going to have to. I've waited this long. Top Gun Maverick, May 27th, just a few days from now, the sequel to the 1986 classic Top Gun. And again, I want to thank my guest, Tom Skerritt, a.k.a. Viper, legendary actor, for taking time out of his busy day to chat with me about his career and about Top Gun and about his new streaming platform, Evergreen. If you want to hear our conversation again, and if you want to learn more about Evergreen, go to my website, turbomix.org. I'll put links to all that stuff. And, wow, this has been incredible. The movie is going to be even more incredible. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm guessing the movie will be even better than the Top Gun Special Edition of Turbo Mix. We've got one more song to do, though, to kind of tie it all up. It's the final song off the soundtrack album, and there are variations of it throughout the film. This is so good. Harold Faltermeyer, who basically created the sound of 80s films, just a genius, and Steve Stevens, the brilliant guitarist who has worked for years and years with Billy Idol. This is the Top Gun anthem as we wrap up the Top Gun edition of Turbo Mix here on 88.1 FM, KWVA Eugene. Tonight's special edition of Turbo Mix is dedicated to Idaho Air National Guard Major Gregory L. Stone, who died serving his country on March 25, 2003 in the Iraq War. He was my brother, and he is the one who took me to see Top Gun, and it was something that he was excited about. And you just by watching him get excited about something, you became excited about it. And he took everybody in the family to see that movie. Not just that one time. I mean, there were a few of us the one time we saw it, the first time. But, oh, Mom, you haven't seen it? Let's go. Throw her in the car, take her off to see Top Gun. And I'm sad that I'm not going to get to see the new one with him. But I know he'll be there with me in spirit watching it and pointing out all the unrealistic stuff in it, just like he did in the first one. But he also pointed out the stuff that was done right, and I always will remember this. When Tom Cruise salutes as he's taken off for that final dogfight at the end of the movie, he said, yeah, most of the people in these military movies don't do the salute right. Tom Cruise did it right. So thank you again for listening tonight to this special edition of Turbo Mix, and be back, won't you, next Sunday at this time, 8 o'clock, for my good friend Soiree Gunn, as he brings you his beach party spy music, his psychedelic psychotronic swank, and all those cool tunes from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, right here on 88.1 FM, KWVA Eugene.